Alright everyone, welcome back to some more Umineko. I'm gonna make this a short one, if only because the craziness is already happening and I'm looking forward to seeing how this all goes about. So if anything else, thank you all for the love and support, guys. Let's get right back into it. Alright everyone, welcome back once more. We're continuing on. The trauma of her youth was revived. Rosa felt the monster raging inside her stomach as the acid started to rise up. Unable to hold back, she threw up on the floor. Her empty stomach couldn't throw up anything but stomach acid. This scene in front of her was no longer a fun Halloween party by any means. The three couples had been placed there with their stomachs vertically wrenched open. Wrenched open with Gui Gupa. I don't know what that is. Lots and lots of sweets had been stuffed in there. Pulpy. Blood and guts and sweets were overflowing onto the floor. Blood-stained, sticky, sloppy, pulpy, sweet candy stuck to each finger. Gummy. Ah, but stained with their entrails. Sloppy, pulpy. What was that I stepped on just now that didn't feel like a candy or a cookie or a fizzy lemon sweet or a chocolate? Ah, I'm so scared I can't even look at the bottom of my foot to see what I stepped on. What a gruesome Halloween party. From far away, it looked really beautiful, fantastical, and fun. And when you see it up close, it's a really terrible, disgusting, and it's still somehow beautiful. Rosa's wild thoughts tried as best they could to escape her throat with a loud voice that was neither a scream nor a roar.
旦那様.
こんなのってひどい。
救急車！警察！
そうよ。警察！
So far, in this version, or at least in this episode, the servants lived. But the family, with the exception of Rosa, all passed on, or were sacrificed for that matter. If a word tied to reality like police hadn't come out of Goda's mouth, Rosa and the rest would probably still have been unable to escape this nightmarish party. But that wasn't because they thought that the police might be able to do something. If they didn't say police out loud, it felt like another seat would be set up at the demon's party and given to them. It felt like their own stomachs were getting uncomfortably filled from the inside. Rumbling, churning, it was surely because candy was starting to overflow from their stomachs. Rosa was again tortured by a desire to vomit and threw up her stomach acid on the floor. And then she searched to see whether there was any candy mixed in. Rosa coughed violently again and violently spat up the acid that burned her throat onto the floor. She realized that by now her whole body had become covered in filthy sweat.
源氏さんとシャナちゃんがお父様に連絡して指示を仰いでちょうだい。郷田さんはカノン君と一緒に行って警察に電話を。あと南條先生に来てもらって。
Have Nanjo come here and what? It's way too late for medical care. The servants accepted their orders and dashed outside. After watching them leave, Rosa once again fixedly cast her eyes upon her siblings who had been through life's joys and sorrows with her and their partners. Even though there could be nothing more tragic, for some reason their fantastical deaths tempted her to describe them as beautiful. So does Rosa have like a sadistic side we don't know about? I'm reminded of Kotomine from Fate Stay Night.
いねえな。どこに行っちまったんだろうな。
使用人室も厨房も空っぽだぜ。一体どうしちまったってんだ。
Ah, these guys are gonna go through the same trauma again. I mean, at the very least, George still has Shannon. For now, anyway. And Maria still has her mother.
"弱ったね。バトラ君、本当にローザおばさんだったのかい?"
まあ、俺も寝ぼけてたから自信はねえんだが。明け方にローザおばさんが入ってきて、マリアの手提げカバンを漁ってるような気がしたんだよ。俺はてっきり、マリアの手提げに歯磨きのチューブでも入ってるんじゃないかなんて思って寝ぼけてて。
なんで歯磨きのチューブがマリアの手提げに入ってるんだよ。寝ぼけて夢でも見たに決まってんぜ。
Battler vaguely remembered Rosa entering the cousin's room. And Maria, who had woken up first, had started rampaging around saying that someone had opened the envelope that she had been keeping safe. And so they had started wondering whether Rosa might have come and opened it.
黄金の魔女様の封筒か。中に何が入ってたんだろう。
わからないね。でも、あの封筒は、おじいさまが新書に使う、後宮家の家紋の入ったものだった。親族会議と無関係なものが入っていたとは考えがたいね。
She hadn't let anyone touch it, but yesterday Maria had bragged a lot about the envelope to Battler and the rest. So they remembered it well.
George ジョージの兄貴の言う通りなら、相当重要なものらしいが、しかし、そんな大事なものを、どうして魔女様はマリアに渡したんだろうな。さっぱりだぜ。
The refreshing morning atmosphere had been completely wiped out by the occasional sounds of thunder. It was only natural. Since the time they had woken up, they hadn't met anyone other than themselves. It felt like the mansion had become an empty husk, leaving only them behind.
おーい！誰かいないか？返事してくれよ！
After Jessica called out into the hallway, an answer finally came back. It was from the entrance hall.
聞こえますとも。何かありましたか？
南條先生だ。よかった。この島から僕たち以外が消えてしまったわけではないようだよ。
南條先生、おはようございます。すみませんが、うちの親たちとかどこに行ったか知りませんか？
はて、私も今起きてこちらに来たばかりですからな。わかりかねますが、さて。
It was only natural. Nanjo was a guest like the rest of them. He had just now come to pass the time in the parlor until breakfast.
南條先生、ママが通った。ママがマリアのお手紙通ったの。返して、返して。
Maria burned her face and buried her face, burned. And Nanjo's well-built stomach sobbing and crying. Nanjo could do nothing but be bewildered at what was going on so early in the morning.
誰かかけてくるぜ。ジェシカ、誰か来るぞ。
From down the hall, they could sense people running hurriedly. When they looked, they saw that it was Goda and Kanon. Running inside the mansion should have been immodest for a servant, and yet Battler and the rest didn't even think to question that now. Maria's sobbing had become so unmanageable they wanted to ask anyone where Rosa was. But the two servants ignored Jessica as she waved her hand. Goda flew into the servant room, and Kanon, noticing that Nanjo was here, bowed and approached him at a quick pace and whispered something into his ear.
何ですって、ローザさんが。
はい。ご案内いたしますので、どうかご同行お願いいたします。
わかりました。
こちらへ。
Without saying anything more than that, Kanon finally noticed Jessica and bowed to her. But he wasn't calm. He dashed back down the corridor by which he had come, followed by Nanjo. By looking at how hurried they were, Battler and the rest realized that something bad had really happened. They saw Goda through the door to the servant room which had been flung open. He had the telephone receiver in hand and was violently pressing the hook. From that, they realized that he was trying to call a hospital or the police, or in any event, he was trying to call someone because a serious emergency had occurred.
行ってみようぜ。
They didn't know what, but something was happening. Battler and the rest chased after Kanon and Nanjo. And then we realized Kanon-kun had called Dr. Nanjo, but he hadn't called us. So we should never have followed. I wonder if Alice didn't regret her excess curiosity when she chased after the rabbit holding a clock. This sounds familiar because it was Natsuhi that was telling the kids not to come in before, and now it's Rosa.
見ちゃダメ。ジェシカちゃん、ダメ。
母さん、父さん、何があったの？
なんだよ、こりゃ。趣味が悪いにも程があるじゃねえかよ。命を奪うなら、それで十分事足りただろうがよ。なんだよ、こりゃ！わざわざ殺した後に椅子に座らせて腹裂いて。
He's actually handling this a lot better than he did in episode 1 where he was really crying. This time he's just angry.
歌詞をわざわざ中に詰め込んだってのかよ。
And rightfully so.
なんだって？なんだって？そんな悪趣味なことをしやがるんだよ。チキショウやってくれやがるぜ。最高だよ、最高だよ。
皆さんは外へ出られた方がいい。こんな姿を皆さんに見せたいなどと彼らが思うわけがありません。
Nanjo told the children to go outside, but no one lent him an ear.
ローザさん、皆さんに言ってください。
It's too late now.
こんなもの見続けては毒になる。
Rosa regretted her own carelessness. She should have been able to anticipate that the children would eventually come here. She should have quickly locked it instead of standing around. So now the children had come. They had seen it. Surely in this very moment they were having a sight burned into their eyes, which was far more grotesque than the gross-out food Rosa had seen in her youth. While she hugged Maria, who seemed to have forgotten her emotions as she stared dumbfounded at the horrible scene, Rosa shed copious tears for them and their parents. So help me, if Maria ends up cackling, I would not mind. I would not mind Rosa smacking her right now, because this is the most inappropriate time to do it, and I actually preferred her crying rather than her cackling. The four groaning and crying voices of their sadness continued to echo in a place which should have known God's love.
クソ野郎が。
Okay, so this is Netherworld Battler, right? And Netherworld Beatrice?
またかよ。またこんな殺人を。しかも今度もやたらと凝った最高にふざけた殺し方をしやがって。
わらわはそんな嘆きより感謝の言葉が聞きたかったぞ。
感謝。 感謝と言ったかこのクソババア。てめえ、耳がいかれてやがるってんなら、俺が両の耳を引き裂いて、よーく聞こえるようにしてやるぜ。なんで俺がこの最高にいかれた殺し方に、ありがとうございますベアトリーチェ様なんて言わなければならねえんだ。ぶっ殺してやる。
前回のゲームで
Wow, that's a face I never expected her to make. But then again, I never expected Marie to make a disturbing face in like the previous vids.
お前は自分の親の死に顔が見られないと嘆いたな。だから残したぞ。しっかり残した。よく拝んでおけ。間違いなく父親たちが殺されたことを。
そうかよ。そいつはサービス満点だぜ。気に入った。俺はてめえの息の根を止めたら顔面耕してやろうと誓ってたが、そいつは取り消してやるぜ。てめえの腹渡を引きずり出してやる。
感情に任せて思考を止めるな。すでにわらわのゲームは始まっておるのだぞ。わらわは今回は綺麗に死体を残すことに決めた。なぜだかわかるか？前回のゲームでそなたがわらわの存在を否定するとき、こう考えて否定したであろう。それは顔面が潰され遺体の身元が確認できない。だから身代わりの死体を用意してアリバイを作った可能性が否定できない。その可能性が排除できない限り人間犯人説は維持できる。
なんだと？
さあバトラ、南條に検視を任せてよいのか？ミステリーの古典では検視の医者がグルというのが伝統なのだろう。なら南條に検視を任せるな。そなたが自らするがよい。間違いなく6人の死体が当人で、死んだふりなどでなく本当に死んでいることを十分に確認するがいい。お前の父親が母親が腹を裂かれて臓物を引きずり出されて殺されていることを腹に手を入れてその手触りで確認するがいい。
泣かねえ。ちくしょう、ちくしょう。泣かねえぞ俺は。
So, is he able to possess his episode 2 self? I'm gonna call it that for now, because I don't know what's he's watching this from a different reality, from purgatory or wherever. I call it the Netherrealm for now, and then there's this battler that's living the life of episode 2 or reality. I don't know the terms to call this, because this is an odd part of this game I'm trying to understand. Battler suddenly yelled. His tears were still dripping down, but as though scolding himself for being girly, he slapped his face hard several times with both hands. Even so, the tears still wouldn't stop. However, he felt the hot blaze ignite in both his eyes.
これだけの上等を決めやがった野郎に借りはがっちり返させていただくぜ。
Okay, I'm assuming that Netherrealm Battler is able to make this Battler slightly aware of what's going on, which is why he was able to snap out of it right away.
なら、泣く時じゃねえ。自分のすべきことを考えろ。ああ、ダメだぜ。全然ダメだ。涙を流す暇があったら考えろ。涙腺なんかひるませる時じゃねえ。
Rather than pure hatred, maybe it was more of an evasive hatred to blot out his sadness. However, it gave a little courage to George and Jessica, who were being crushed by sadness.
そうだね。僕たちが泣いても変わらない。
私は父さんと母さんのために何をすればいいんだよ。
ローザ様、戻りました。
郷田さん、警察はどうでしたか？対応の指示は？
The lines are dead.
いつ頃来られそうだと言っていましたか？
それが電話が故障のようでして、非常用の無線機も試してはみたのですが、その天候のせいでしょうか、こちらも通じず。
なんですって？じゃあ警察に連絡がつかないということなの？
あいつだ。あいつが電話線とかに細工して警察に電話ができないようにしたんだ。
When she heard that the telephones were out of order, Jessica immediately decided that it was the work of that mysterious guest. Her eyes were bright red after so much crying, and they began to go even more red with rage.
もう議論の余地なんかねえぜ。全てが分かってる。そうだと分かる。父さんと母さんを殺したのは誰だ？決まってるぜ。あいつだ。昨日来たとかいう魔女様に決まってる。襟首ひねり上げてやるぜ。チクショーチクショーチクショー。
ジェシカちゃん、お待ちなさい。郷田さん、カノ君、行って。
はい。お嬢様、お待ちを。
Covering her unfocused sadness with anger, Jessica ran outside, torn apart by emotion. Thinking about it hastily, maybe the mystery guest Beatrice, who had arrived yesterday, was suspicious. However, at the current time, there was absolutely no proof that she was the culprit. At this moment, she was nothing more than a simple guest and only one of many. So Rosa had to make an adult decision and stop Jessica in her hasty rampage. Goda and Kanon realized that immediately and chased after her.
誰にも招かれなかった客人、ベアトリーチェが犯人なんだろうか。
ジェシカの気持ちもわかる。そう思い込みたい気持ちは誰でもいいから犯人ってことにして横っ面をぶっ飛ばしてやりたい気持ちがある。だがその前にはっきりと理解する必要がある。ベアトリーチェってのは何者なんだ。俺は顔すら見てねえぜ。
Ah, you see, I don't like this Maria.
顔ならお屋敷に大きな肖像画で飾られてたよ。あれだけ見てまだ覚えられないのかな。
なんだよマリア、こんな状況で何がおかしいよ。
ベアトリーチェは魔女なんだよ。そして黄金鏡の扉を開くための儀式がいよいよ始まったの。この6人はその生贄なんだよ。さあさあ始まるよ、魔女の宴が。今宵はハロウィン。魔女たちが今こそ祝い集う。
マリア、その気持ち悪い声で笑うのをやめなさいっていつも言ってるでしょ。
The crisp sound of Rosa slapping Maria's cheek echoed through the high-ceilinged chapel. It kind of feels like ever since the rain started yesterday. No, ever since the island had become wrapped up in the typhoon, something has gone crazy. I had arrived in Rokenjima while it was clear and taken a nap because I had gotten up early. When I woke up, it had already started raining. And after I got up, that's when it all started. Suddenly, a mysterious visitor had arrived, calling herself the Golden Witch Beatrice, and it feels like the world had started skewing bit by bit into something insane. What happened while I was taking that nap? During that time, had this island been cut off, trapped in a different world where common sense doesn't apply? Who is this person called Beatrice? Is she some unknown person trying to involve themselves with the inheritance problem like our parents were freaking out about at dinner last night? Or is the culprit the witch from the Legend of the Gold like Maria says? Even if Jessica hadn't let her short temper get the better of her, in this situation, the visitor was probably the most suspicious. But we mustn't jump to conclusions just like that. Yeah, that's no good. No good. No goddamn good at all. I smacked my face with both hands again, cooling off my brain before it overheated. Even though it might have been a waste of effort.
これはおじい様の封筒。
On a tray piled up with sweets that decorated the table, George Aniki found a Western envelope which had the Ushinomiya family crest done on it in gold leaf, and it was unopened.
ってことは、それは俺たち宛てってことじゃねえのか。親父たちが読んだものだったなら開封されてるはずだぜ。
その推理は正解のようだよ。書いてある。残されし者たちへって書いてあるよ。
それは犯人が残した手紙なの。中身は。
兄貴、開けようぜ。
After nodding silently, George Aniki opened it. A folded letter came out.
読むよ。六軒島へようこそ。後宮家の皆様方。私は、金蔵様にお仕えしております。当家顧問錬金術師のベアトリーチェと申します。
That letter really was a joke. This Beatrice, who called herself the family alchemist, had announced that she was collecting the gold she had lent grandfather along with the interest. And that interest was everything that grandfather had created. Since this tragedy was right before our eyes as this paragraph was read aloud, it clearly wasn't referring just to the wealth that grandfather had built up. It was literal. Everything that grandfather had given birth to. In other words, all of grandfather's descendants were included in the interest.
ふざけやがって、なんてめちゃくちゃな契約だ。黄金の利子は命だってのかよ。そんなのまるで悪魔の契約じゃねえかよ。それで魔女気取りってわけか。はっ、笑わせやがるぜ。
特別条項。ただし、隠された契約の黄金を暴いた者が現れたとき、ベアトリーチェはこの権利をすべて永遠に放棄しなければならない。黄金の隠し場所については、すでに金蔵様が私の肖像画の下に碑文にて公示されております。つまりこういうことだね。もしこの殺人が利子の回収行為だというなら、それを止める条件としておじい様に与えた隠し黄金を探し出してみろと。そしてその秘密は例の肖像画の碑文に隠されているとも言ってる。
つまりこいつは魔女様の挑戦状ってわけか。黄金の隠し場所を記した暗号文を解けるものなら解いてみろと。そしてそれができなきゃ利子の回収をこの後も着々と進めていきますと、そう言ってやがるわけか。ぶっ殺してやる上等だ。
バトラ君、これ
The table had been full of sweets, so even though they had been right in the open, we had assumed they were just sweets. I mean, come on, you find stuff like this a lot, right? You know, boxes of chocolate shaped like golden ingots?
こりゃお菓子の箱じゃねえぞ。本物だ。こりゃ本物の金塊だ。
片翼のわしの紋章が刻印されてる。前に母さんが話してたのを聞いた。これはおじい様の黄金伝説の金塊だよ。
Gold ingots, 3 of them, weighing a full 10 kilograms each, were piled up in the very center of the table. Oh, this time it's 3. It was where the cake would be placed if it was a birthday party. In other words, this was without a doubt the birthday cake of the party known as the family conference.
これが本当に純度49のインゴットだったなら、6000万円くらいの価値はある。
バカ野郎！安すぎる！俺たちの親が6人も殺されて、そこに積まれた黄金がたったの6000万円だと！
George doesn't seem to find it cheap at all.
バカにするんじゃねえ！
は 始まったね、ベアトリーチェ。どうせこの謎は誰にも解けないよ。だから絶対にベアとの勝ち。
Now I really hope Battler solves it just so that this girl shuts up. Alright guys, I'm going to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. Things are getting hectic as usual, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this all comes to, or at least how this episode comes to an end. It's like, I don't think it's going to end the same way, or it might. I don't know. That's what we'll have to find out. So if anything, thank you again. Until the next one.